Navigating the Heart. Who is Dragging You? By Ock Soo Park. Once you fall into something, it is impossible to have normal logic and actions. At the International Youth Fellowship camps, there is the Gyeongbuk Pine Forest, where college students camp outdoors. A river flows alongside it, and the students go rafting there. Once I was riding on a boat with the chairman of IYF, and I told him, "Why don't you take the raft from here? I'm going into the water and will swim from here." I jumped into the river and I didn't have any goggles on, so with my eyes closed, I put my head under water and I began to stroke towards the hill. After having gone for a while, I thought, I should be at the hill by now. But when I lifted my head out of the water, I couldn't see the hill. Oh, where did the hill go? I looked around and I was going in the opposite direction. I was going farther down the river. I once again set my direction towards the hill and stroked with my arms. After going for a while, I thought, oh, now I should almost be there. But when I lifted my head once again, I was going in the opposite direction again. This is weird. What's wrong? I thought. I looked around and I saw that this was the spot where two currents of water met, and there was a slight whirlpool where the water was flowing around in circles. That is where I had fallen in. Ah, I have fallen into a whirlpool, I thought to myself. Even though I tried to break free from it, the strong currents held my body in and I was just swimming around in circles. For a moment I panicked. If you swim intensely, then you become exhausted quickly. But in order to become free from the whirlpool, I tried to swim out with all my strength. But I could not break free and I was just growing weaker and weaker. I thought to myself, if this continues and I become fully exhausted, then I'm just going to drown. When I looked the other way, I saw the chairman rowing the boat and going away. I yelled out, "Chairman!" The chairman looked towards my direction. "This way! Hurry up and come here!" I yelled out. Then the chairman quickly rowed the boat back towards me. Right then I thought to myself, one should never lose another person's heart. What would have happened if the chairman heard me screaming but continued to leave? Because I know how to swim a bit, I thought that the distance wasn't much of a problem for me. However, once I was caught in the whirlpool, my swimming abilities were useless. I had fallen into a whirlpool, and the younger son similarly had fallen into prostitutes. Before I entered the water, just as I thought to myself, why can't I cross this river? The younger son thought, why can't I just have fun for a day? But he was dealing with prostitutes, women who know how to melt men's hearts. The younger son did not have any experience with this, so he fell into women, and the more he stayed with the women, his pockets became lighter and lighter. Now I'd better start my business. I'd better break free from these women. He thought this way, but in reality his actions could not break free. That is what it means to have fallen into something. If you fall into drinking, this means that you cannot just come out from drinking. If you fall into gambling, you cannot just come out from gambling. If you fall into drugs, you cannot just break free from drugs. If you fall into women, you cannot just break free from your addiction to women. Nowadays, there are lots of people who have fallen into drugs, gambling, drinking, women, and even computer games. These people struggle because they are unable to break free. But these are not the only things that people fall into. Some people fall into pride, believing in the thought that they are great. Some people fall into hatred or malice. There are times when a person falls into a pit while he or she is walking. His first reaction is to panic, and then it becomes impossible for him to have logic or act calmly. In language, we use the term fell. fell into gambling, fell into computer games, fell into golf, fell into women. In the same way, you may fall into a deep pit or into a deep pool of water, and you can only struggle. No matter what it may be, if you fall victim to something, your logic is shattered and you can only wander back and forth. The younger son tried to break free from the prostitute, but ultimately he was unable to, and eventually ran out of money. That's when the woman's attitude completely changed. Before, she was so kind and willing to listen to anything he had to say. But now, very coldly, she kicked the younger son out. As the younger son came home empty-handed, he felt so empty inside. This is what the world is. The world is such a deceitful place. How foolish I was. That woman did not love me, but acted as if she did. I fell into the thought that she loved me.